how funny were those team lists in the end? That's all I can do now is just laugh at them because it's getting pretty ridiculous. And we're all sitting here a bunch of weeks ago hoping to get close to that 17 on the park. And I know myself that this round was probably going to be the hardest, given I had the 3 Eels and four in the was with Mitch Moses as well. And other people were looking to potentially get rid of a few of those Eels, and turns out that it didn't really matter, to be honest with you. Some have got out of this okay, it looks like, but it's really hard to avoid all that carnage. And I think the only thing that you could have done was to have that really deep roster and have the 20 or 21 playing players, or at least guys that were on the fringes of teams that looked like they were going to rest some of their stars. And that's exactly what's happened here. I got pretty unfortunate with my 2 fringe guys being players that aren't in finals contention, basically, or they're a team that needs to play to get themselves in the correct position with Valance and also Jesse Colquhoun. But not that Jesse was going to score well anyway. But if you had like the Brennan Piakuras and these types of guys, they end up getting that start, and it works out really well for your side. So let's get into those team lists now and have a bit of a laugh, as I said there. Broncos and the Storm. So Broncos, they've basically rested their whole squad, especially the guys that have been playing the majority of the year there, and guys like Jordan Ricky, who have had a few weeks off in recent time due to injury. He gets that opportunity to play again. But as I said, Brendan Piakura comes in as a guy that a few people would still own in this one. Tom Flegler's probably the only one that's kind of sitting there that has been playing the majority of the time. And so my selection of Herbie Farnworth last week didn't matter in the end based on the centre position. And to be honest, it was him. If I didn't bother at all with it, it would have been Munster with the other one, with him not playing as well. And then the third option was Tyson Frizzell, and he's out as well. So either way, it didn't really matter. The other solid options there, which Brenton beautifully pointed out to me, and then in hindsight told me that there was the best selection before even the Broncos had played last week, and that was Connolly Lemuelu, who was named as well. So it's Connor Tracy and Lem were the 2 best options there for sure. Even it's funny in this one that having Ruben Garrick to trade out, and if he was playing there, then I definitely do Valance, or I do Brennan Hands, and I can get one of those guys in Connor Tracy or Lem, and that would have proved to be the best selection. So a lot of it does come down to luck as well. You're looking to get the best average, and that would have been Herbie with that 47 in the centres when I needed a centre, hoping that majority of our guys would play coming into this week, and that's not to be. But that's okay. We do have a little bit to look forward to in this matchup, and that's Ryan Pappenhausen back at the fullback position. So very, very excited for him. I hope all goes well, and keen to watch him play. And to be honest, they're playing a solid side in the Broncos, obviously better than like a Q Cup team, but it's going to feel a little bit similar to that for him. Obviously just a step above that level. So that'll be really good to see him and how he goes, and if he can dominate here with Jaden Nicarimo and Tyrone Wishart there in the halves. And guys, unless I'm mentioning any of these, if you have a trade left or two, unless I mention one of these guys, they're not worth bringing into your side. There'll be some players that will come in and fill a role and actually score really well. Think Dylan Lucas with the Knights. He's been doing that really, really well, and there'll be other guys that should do also. Obviously, Piakura, if you own him, then he should be able to do pretty solidly in this one. For the Storm, Justin Olam comes back in, Warbrick still sticks in, and Bronson Garlick's probably the biggest one out of that. I know a couple of people, Eddie being one of them, has Bronson, and that just works out great with Harry being rested in this one. So you do lose, obviously, if you have Harry and also Munster in this one, that hurts. It sounds like Jerome Hughes is going to be good for finals, which is exciting. And guys, I will be doing a video a week just previewing the finals games to come, which will be cool, and do a little bit of a review as well. I'll put them all into the one video / podcast, and you guys can get into that. Jack Howarth ends up on the interchange, first time this year, which is fun. He's going to be super cheap again next year. Wow, look at that. The ins and outs for the Storm. They basically have rested their whole side with guys like Nick Meaney out as well, and Nelson and Welchie for those that are have interest in them. So Eagles and the Tigers, and the sad one here, guys, was the fact that John Bateman is actually out. So Sean Bloor, if you've got him now, he gets that start on an edge, and he should do really, really well. Isaiah Papali'i maintains his position, which is good news. But, that's kind of where it stops for my squad. Api Coruscant still sticks in that starting role, obviously in the 7 jersey this time instead of the 9. So, that really helps him, obviously, with that. But and your scoring, he did really well in the 7 jersey last time. Obviously, kicking more in general play, kicking the goals as well. Dream Bull is still there for those that own him. For those that have Justin Matamua, that obviously helps as well. And for the Manly boys, nothing too much changes. Again, you kind of lucked out by having Trebojevic still sitting in there in that 228 slot, because that works out well. Tolu Kola and also DCE, the two big dogs there. And DCE is likely to be a good captaincy option unless Hines is back playing. But I think you probably want to select Daly anyway, given how well he played last week, that's for sure. Sam Fainu doesn't get the slot, unfortunately. For those that may still be holding on to him as well. And guys like Simkin are the big beneficiaries here, given that he gets that opportunity at 9 again rather than playing off the bench. So yeah, he's someone that at that price point should be scoring pretty well, which is gonna be cool. Polo ends up on the bench, which is strange as well, with Matamua getting the start. I wouldn't expect him to get massive minutes though, Justin, in that one there. All right, let's go to the next one. Bunnies and Roosters. Bunnies basically playing their full squad, which is good news for them. Totola will be starting alongside Shaq Mitchell. Hamesele on the bench as well. Blake Taff, for those that have had to hold him for the whole way through, he ends up getting that fullback position with Latrell out. For the Roosters, Manu's been named. It sounds like he's about 50-50 at the moment. I don't know. Will he do it? I feel like it's not worth risking the hamstring, but they do need to try and win this to make the finals. So they'll see how it plays out. Sometimes they are obviously very, very minor, but it'll only be 7 days less than up to this point. So yeah, that's that. Teddy is back, which is great news there. So Suoli'i is still a great option in this one. I think that with Rabbitohs not playing so well, Suoli'i is in incredible form. He's going to be great for that centre wing fullback position. Same with Connor Tracy. Great selections there, both those guys. For the forwards, he would have been a great one for my team as well. But so hard to pick a winger, isn't it? Anyway, forwards then, Wong should be able to score well along with Nat Butcher in this one. Brandon Smith keeps his spot as well, and Sanders Smith will get a game for those that need it from him, which works out well. So good stuff to you guys. Havili's out as well. Yeah, interesting. All right, Dolphins and the Warriors. This is the one that nothing really changes for the Dolphins, and I would have liked for Valance to be there, and he is not. Harrison Graham obviously gets another week in the start. That benefits him. You've got Connolly Lemuelu as well in that slot. For the Warriors, we have a lot of outs. Obviously, Tohu Harris is gone. Egan, Johnson, Metcalf from last week with his injury. I haven't heard anything further. I hope he's okay. Dallin, Chance, and also Adam Finau-Blake are all out in that game there. So that obviously hurts a lot of people. In that one, Tuapiki is the beneficiary, and obviously Josh Curran as well. And they're keeping Ford on the bench, which is very interesting. We'll see how that plays out come finals time. But no real big beneficiaries other than guys like Freddie Lussick and Curran. But Tamati Martin comes back in with Volkman. I wouldn't be looking at any of them. If you have the one trade left, Panthers and Cowboys in this one. Panthers, they named basically everyone, which is actually what I thought was likely going to happen here in this one, just for the fact that they haven't been playing that well, and they obviously they've been given rest across the season. And I think in this one, they just want to get everything in fine-tuned, great condition. Considering Jack Cogger's been playing in that 6th position, they want to get that right. They want to have the whole squad together, basically, except for Mitch Kenny, who hasn't... I think he's on the reserves. No, he's not. We've got Tungo still on the reserves there. Is Kenny in a different position? Can't even see it. Anyway, Summerton's still playing the 9 jersey. And nothing else really changes. So even Isaiah Yeo gets a start there. So happy days for anyone who grabbed him. But they need to show that they are the best team in the competition. And looks like they should be getting the minor premiership unless my Cowboys come out and win this one. So that hurts their chances, obviously, of making the 8 there. But all of their players are going to be there. And this is there's a bit of luck in it, obviously. But there's looking at the teams like this in the last sort of, if you have a 3 or 4 week play, selecting someone from this type of team. But we'll get to the Knights in a second. But you would have thought that selecting Knights players would have been very smart, given they were really pushing for that 8. But now they're resting their players as well. Ruben Cotter is another one that last 2 weeks has done really well, and he will be a great selection again in that one. Okay, Dragons and Knights. So let's the Dragons again. Not too much of an not too much of importance in these players here, except for DeBellin that comes back. So anyone that still owns him, I think there's a few that couldn't actually trade him out. So you get lucky in round 27, which is very helpful. On the Knights side, you lose Dane Gagai. Obviously, Pongo's out for all of us. Lockie Miller returns. So if anyone's still holding him, there'll be just a few of those guys that stop playing halfway through the season. In that one, Best keeps his spot along with Marzu. So that obviously helps there. Farmani Brown should score really well in the 9 jersey. So Croston actually gets a rest. How good is that for him? Dylan Lucas will score really well, and Adam Elliott gets another game under his belt, considering he hasn't played the majority of the season. For the Dragons, as I said, Dan Russell and Billy Burns keep their spot as well, which is really important there. You move to the Titans and the Dogs. A couple games to go now, and for the Titans, it works out well for Dave Fafita and Tino, and Mo Fodawaker comes back from his suspension as well. So those guys are all in a really good position there. For the Dogs, again, not a lot changes in this one. Max King is in the 13 jersey, so that's good news there. I think probably the only sort of bright light in my squad there is that it looks like with Harrison Edwards being out, surely Max King plays that role. I'm not sure if they will on game day, if they change things around, but let's hope that that's the case and he helps me get a few extra points in this one. I wouldn't be looking to select any other Dogs, unfortunately. We do lose Karaz, as we knew last week, for the season there. And this interchange bench really surely spells Max King big minutes, let's hope anyway, so he should be able to do well. Tavita is done in the NRL, it seems like, now that he's retiring. Sharkies and Raiders. This was the big one. The Sharkies just named basically their whole side, so all the Wade Grahams, Nickeras, Tracy, you've got Jesse Rame in there who needs to bounce back, but obviously Heinz's been named there, and they need to win this one as well to get a home final, which they will be hoping for. Corey Horsburgh at the judiciary, I believe now. I haven't actually checked. We'll have we'll find out. We'll know anyway by the time this video comes out, or close to it, I believe. Yeah, what is it? Almost 6. I don't know. I'm making this video in Sydney time. It's almost 8 here. But we've got Timoko, who keeps his spot as well. Jordan Rapps in the fullback spot if you have him. Joseph Tarpany. They need to win, basically, the Raiders. So very, very important. At that front, Josh Pupley is out injured, unfortunately. So that is the end of the team list analysis. I'll do a quick one myself just on potentially some of the best guys to actually purchase. Just pop it all into a quick video, I'd say, in that one, and potentially a bunch of questions. I think I'll put them all together in just the one video, which would normally be the 3 with the Q&A, team analysis, and then trades, considering we have no trades left. I think we'll just do it all in one in the buy, hold, risk, sell, which I'll get out for you guys tomorrow at some point. I'll either do it now. We're going out in the ski fields tomorrow, which is exciting. And that will be that, guys. Thank you for being here. I hope that was a bit of a laugh, and maybe you got out okay. Like, I think I'm going to be sitting here with 9 players. Let's just assume that Horsburgh's out and Manu's out. I would have 9 players, which is absolutely hilarious. It's worse than the bye rounds when they have 4 games, 5 games. It's too good. Absolutely comical. And my 106 man DCE is sitting on the bench currently, which is funny. So we've got Cleary, DCE, and Hines playing this week. So I should at least get a good score between those 3, and then Teddy. But yeah, it's just been a shocker in the end. Anyway, that's that one, guys. See you later.